little thing. We can start with introductions though. On my screen is Giancarlo, Sublett, Trey, and is that Jose who's joined us here?
No, that's Dillon.
Yeah, I could be Jose if you
Dillon?
want. No, this is Dillon.
We have Dillon. Ooh. All right, but yeah, everything's live. So yeah, start with the introduction, my fellas.
All right, what's up, everyone? It's me, Brendan Faircloth, the Gohan Icarus player. It's been a good weekend for Dragon Ball, man. I played a shit ton of Dragon Ball this weekend, so I'm excited to talk about it. I'll pass it off to Sublett.
I'm also excited to talk about Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Yay, game's fun again. Thank you, Amanda.
It's me, Trey. Once again, we're going to talk about how I went to locals and guided my man Giancarlo a little bit on his successful finish this weekend. And we can listen to SS4 Vegeta talk over there in the corner about his second place with I didn't expect anyone to ever get in top cut with that deck ever. But he proved me wrong.
Yep. Dillon.
Yep. I'm Dillon. I guess I'm here to provide the janky bad advice. That's what I typically do.
You're here to argue with me about green decks. That's
my role.
I got you.
Dead. But yeah. So let's start with this past weekend's event. So from this group, I think it was only Sublett and Giancarlo played for this past weekend.
Yeah, and then shout out to Steven, who's also on our team, who got 12th, but he's not in his team talk.
Yep.
But he got 12th with like Baby with
Blue
Frieza
Baby
Rebirth.
Mill is back.
Yeah.
Baby Mill.
So yeah, it was the only baby player in Top Cut too. So shout out to him. Yeah. His deck profile comes out, I believe. It came out today.
Yeah, it was. You uploaded today, and then me and Sublets are probably coming soon. I already sent them. So.
Yep.
So it was the first regional post ban list. I played Trey's Gohan Icarus deck. That shit was like crazy fun. I had a great time playing that. I got 8th place, and I kind of fumbled the bag. I fucked over me and Sublett. I fucked up the tournament for both of us, but my bad. I'll cover that in a second. And then on Sunday, me and Sublett were on the Hermit style fight night. So if you go to the Kaioken cards, is that what it is, Sublett?
Kaioken cards with a K.
Kaioken cards with a K on YouTube. Some people from the Hermit style Discord. Me and Sublett were both on that, and we both won our matches. That was really fun. We got to play some janky decks. And that was awesome. Yeah, Sublett.
So I played in the same regional that he did. I made it all the way to the finals with SS4 Vegeta, the Ramp Vegeta deck. And the main reason for that was I liked the deck, and I thought it was really funny that everybody in our little Hermit-style group was just ragging on the deck.
Yeah.
And so I was really motivated to make everyone eat their words. Almost won, but didn't at the same time, right? I ended up losing in the finals to King Cold. I 17'd him because my hand was getting too small. He had a Zamasu on the board that was just working. And he top decked the Frieza.
That's nice.
He top decked the Pinnacle of the Clan, the Double Strike.
Yeah.
So that was a
two of.
Yeah, that's probably the best card to draw off the top of your deck after getting 17.
Yes. So I ended up losing to Butters, but it was a really good game. It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
So the way I fumbled the bag was I played Butters. I was X1 going into round 7, and there were 3 undefeateds, and Butters got paired down to me. Butters was undefeated. So if I win, the tournament's over. Sublett won round 7, so Sublett wins the entire tournament. I get probably second anyway. I'll probably get top 4, probably second place. I didn't beat Butters. I fucked up. I fucked everybody over. My bad. I screwed us all over. But it was a close game. I made the last attack against Butters, and he had the last negate. He had four negates on the ending turn. On like my final turn, he had 4 negates. If he doesn't have the last negate, we compare our hands. I have more than enough combo to kill him. So it all came. I mean, obviously he's a great player, and he won probably because he was playing very optimally the entire game. But if without that last negate, I have more cards in hand. I win. Tournament's over. Sublett gets his second win. I get another top 4. But as it goes, it just didn't work out. But either way, I had a great time. I mean, I think this was day 1 format, right? Ban list just came out, or ban list came into effect the day before. People were on some wonky stuff. People were playing decks that, like SS4, like people were playing
in top cut. I'll tell you that.
Right? Yeah, there was a Janimba mill in top cut. There was a cooler mill in top cut. There was one more.
There were 2 18 mills.
There were 2 18 mills. There was another deck that made me. Oh yeah, Helku. Brian Samuels played Helku. Obviously, we know Brian Samuels, national champ. Obviously, a great player, but that deck I lost to him. So I mean, that deck seemed like it did not seem that amazing. I just feel like he plays really well, so he's gonna win. That's just kind of how Dragon Ball is right now. So any good player with a good enough deck can do well. He got top 4, so that was pretty cool. I have never wanted to play the game so badly. I've been playing every single day since this ban list got released. I cannot wait for Gen Con. Holy cow. Even though I don't even know what I'm playing, I still can't wait.
Gen Con's gonna be
sure.
Got to do well in Swiss though, man, because it's by standings, broski. So
there's
no mental errors. Yeah, there's no mental errors in that one, man. It's literally.
I mean, it's just like a webcam regional. It's the same thing. There's no top cut.
Yep.
I mean, Eddie, in 3 of the regionals I've played in, I made it to the last round, man. I don't care about whatever, top cut or not. It doesn't matter.
Good stuff. So how do you guys feel about the meta? Do you guys feel like there were certain decks that you expected to be there that just didn't show up in top cut?
Full striker.
Oh, let me rephrase that. That's a yes. I mean, let me rephrase that question. What decks did you expect to be in top cut that weren't in top cut besides Soul Striker, which was a huge shock to me?
I mean, that's the main one, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I was that surprised. Like to see 0 in top cut, that is a little bit surprising. But like at the same, so it had a target on its back. Everyone was going to play strategies that did well against Soul Striker. It's one of the reasons that I picked my deck. It's one of the reasons Sublett picked his deck. Both of the decks just have good matchups against Soul Striker. So I was like, okay, if I play a Soul Striker, I win. I played 3 different blue decks, and I beat every single one because like this deck just has a good matchup against blue. Same thing with Sublett's deck. Generally, the better blue deck to play against every other blue deck, except like Vegito, just because of the way that deck works. So more surprising, there was only one. It was Sublett was the only Galactic Buster in top 16. That's correct. Yeah, I expected more. I expected more Galactic Buster decks to be in top 16. Whatever the case, like whichever leader you pick, having one Buster deck, it was surprising. Other than that, Frieza Mill, 18 Frieza Mill is good in best of 1. That's just but those are it was David Fujima and Jason Scott. Both of them are good players, and they were just playing a deck that's good in best of 1. Nothing else was surprising, really. I think Janimba Mill kind of surprised me, but that was more that
12th. So.
Yeah, well, Cooler. I don't believe in Cooler Mill, but whatever the case, it's I could see that deck getting top though. It's not really a huge surprise.
I had to go through all of Jason's group. I had to go through Jason, Dahan, and at the end Butters.
Yeah,
I had to go against Legends as well earlier in the day too. I had such a long day. God.
I think Legends was trolling. He told me he was playing. He was playing aggro Dark Broly, and I was like, yeah, this dude entered for the TPs. He wants the cooler TP. That's the only reason he entered. He definitely wasn't trying to win. Or maybe he was, and I just don't know. I don't know.
Nah, he had somewhere to be. He played his rounds, and he had somewhere to be.
Yeah, he wants. I'm assuming everyone wants the cooler, the 3-drop arrival cooler. So 100%. You just enter for your entry packs, and you hopefully pull cooler. Yeah. I'm gonna sell mine to Trey, so I'm not really worried about it.
Yeah, big facts. My biggest surprise like I said, especially towards best of 1, we already know it's gonna be Mill. You pick your poison on Mill, whether it's Android 18, whether it's freaking cooler, whether it's Janema, you pick your poison, right? My biggest thing was there a 0 hand destruction in top 16?
I'm pulling it up now. I don't think there was any hand.
0 hand
There
destruction?
were 2 colds. Two
Oh,
King
yeah.
Colts
I
are
don't count King
pseudo
Cold. I don't
hand
count King
destruction.
Cold. I'm talking about like Cell Surge specifically. Were there literally 0 Cell Surge
And top two.
in top
Chesko knocked
16?
Yeah,
Marcel.
I
That's
did.
insane.
Okay, so first place was King Cold. Second place was SS4 Vegeta. Third place was Android 18 Mil. Fourth place was Helku. Fifth place King Cold. Sixth place Gogeta Xeno. Seventh place was Sin Shinron Control. The
That's
yellow
a-
one, not the black
that's a
one.
shock,
Eighth
man.
place was Higher Dragon. Then we had 2 Gogeta Xenos back to back. Then we have, I don't even know what leader this is. Sun Gohan Power of Duty.
It's
That's
the
the
red one.
That's
The red
red.
set 14.
Okay,
It's
so
really
there
good.
was this. Okay, there was a set 14. Then we have Baby Cooler Mill, Jiren. Is that yellow Jiren? Jiren.
No,
Oh, no,
red Jiren.
red
Red Jiren. Yeah.
Okay, we have red Jiren, Relentless Speed Janemba, and another Cooler Mill. So Mill was the
Zero
number
is
one representation
18 mil.
strategy. 18
0.
mil. Yes,
18 mil.
18 mil.
Wow.
So yeah, Marcel and Danny were playing Cell Surge. I don't know what happened. I mean, sometimes you just don't top. It is what
Danny
it
got
is. But
17.
Danny got 17. Okay, so he probably was close enough to
The
get there.
tiebreakers probably got him. So I'm like, I looked at it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I mean, it was a rhetorical question. So I knew there was no Cell Surge in there. I'm like, how is that even possible, B? Hey, looking at the specific top cut who topped you, it sounded like it was a abundance of just like blue yellow decks with apes and stuff like that. It was just straight pure mill decks. Mill decks won't have a hand in order for them to mill you. It's like there's some decks I can say, okay, cool, yeah, you can get around hand destruction. But there are decks I looked at it just without looking at the deck list. I just looked at it, I'm like, whoa, how in the world does this even get past hand destruction? That was my biggest shock of the weekend itself. But I didn't play in the event. That's why I asked you guys, what was the shock like? It's just weird. And I also didn't know the fact that there were no Galactic Buster decks in Top Cut besides Sublett. That to me is mind baffling and scary because as you guys know, I texted you in the team chat earlier. I'm like, Dark Broly is far from dead. But the only issue I'm having right now before finalizing the build is literally dealing with Galactic Buster because that is a huge problem. Just paying an energy now to do something and you just getting yours pretty much right for free. So that's another shock too because it's like, do I really? Nah, I'm not getting a bad mindset.
I think it is literally only a matter of time before Demigra Unison is broken by somebody. Unison is insanely powerful. The one drop black Demigra Unison.
Yeah.
That shit is insanely powerful. I played a deck that used it this weekend. Kind of the deck itself was pretty mid, not gonna lie. It was the SS4 Gogeta Goku Zeno from like set 12, maybe I think it came out, set 11 or set 12. And it was a lot of fun. Double, if you can play double fighting against fate and thwarting all in the same turn. It's a lot of pressure. Or like there were games where I would go fighting against fate, Demigra, awaken, play thwarting, which like that's just an insane turn 2. Like that's a lot on turn 2. But it's inconsistent. Your mills have to be spot on. Your first overwhelm probably has to be Vegeta that mills 3, which then enables your fighting against fate on turn 2. It's very inconsistent, pretty mid. Like if we still had like a non-nerfed black leader that like the best 2 black leaders got nerfed. The third best black leader is not an overwhelm deck. Because it sends to the warp directly. Yeah, you play overwhelms, but it's not a primarily overwhelm focused deck like Vergex was. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's only a matter of time before that Demigra Unison like does some real work. That card is insanely powerful.
Now I've seen it in action in a Toa deck, and I actually tried Toa. It didn't feel the same, man. Like if Toa had anything that could interrupt the opponent's drop, I'd 100 be on it. But like, it felt like that was the only thing missing, in my opinion. That's why I just put it back down. But it's a really solid deck. That Demigra Unison in that deck, by the way, it could never die. I mean, yes, you can take it off board, but it's pointless. You don't even try it. It makes no sense at all.
Someone said you can't play it in Vergex. Demigra Unison says you have to be a god or Saiyan
leader
only.
Yeah, Saiyan leader only.
And Vergex is Saiyan Earthling, which is also why you can't play this other really broken extra card, which is I think it's called Taking Off the Mask or something. It summons the Mass Saiyan directly from deck or some crazy thing like that. You just can't play it in Vergex because it's Saiyan Earthling, which is relatively balanced. I think if you could play that Unison in Vergex, I would still be playing Vergex. Like I'm not even gonna lie. Like you know, if you could play it in Vergex, I think it'd be a solid deck.
Speaking of Vergex, I think that deck is pretty good for best of one. As you could tell, there's a lot of mill decks.
I think that deck is still good. Period. Like out of all the decks I got, like it's on the ban list and stuff. Yes, it sucks that you still burst less. I mean, 2 less, but I still think that deck is insanely good. Like,
I wish it were true.
yes,
It's just
You just
I don't
play
know.
low to ground.
nah,
It is, but you have to hit one.
Yeah.
So like if you hit trash on your burst 3, like I played against it in the last regional, he hit terrible, and he hit nothing off the top, and it was just free. But I played against it right before the regional on untap, and he hit everything and went thwarting. I cleared thwarting. He played another thwarting, and I cleared it. And he went into all 4. So like, it's just your odds are less likely to hit the nuts, but it's still good if you go off and you just hit everything on your 3 bursts.
Yeah, Vegeks is really look based now, especially with like I was playing against it 2 weekends ago, and he milled like 2 super combos and a Demigra off the top, and I was like, bro, you just lost 3 of your good cards against me.
Your best cards, yeah. So the thing about Big X before is you had mill insurance. I guess what I called it. That's why I played Demigra, right? It did not matter to me if I hit literally 0 off of the top because I mill 5. That means on turn 2 I can immediately slam Demigra. If I mill 5 and I hit 3, next turn I mill 5, I go to 7 and I can Demigra no matter what, I'm guaranteed a Demigra on turn 2. Now with Vegex, like you're not guaranteed Demigra on turn 2, which makes the deck 100 times worse, and I just wouldn't play it. That's really all I would say. In this Goku 4 deck, if you open a Vegeta, you were guaranteed Demigra on turn 2. And I just think it's better. Like I don't know. I think
the same thing with Vegeks. They do the same thing with Vegeks.
Yeah, but you're playing cards that summon themselves in Vegex. So if you summon cards, then you don't get to play Demigra.
Oh, okay.
Like if you hit Trunks, you don't get to play Demigra.
Yeah.
So
the only one I played in SS4 was Kai because Kai's still good to draw.
So I have 2 questions. One is for Dillon. The other one is for everyone. So the first one, Dillon, talk about Vegeta. In your opinion, my friend, I know you got I think top 8 with the last regional, right?
Yeah, so the last regional I got 6th place. My only loss was hand control, and I told you guys in the chat going in that I just need to dodge hand control because I could have main stuff for best of 1 for it, but I didn't want to.
You're gonna make your deck weaker just for 1 matchup, which is neg.
Yeah, that was also before Dark Broly and King Vegeta got hit, so I expected any hand control to get just stomped by those decks. So. But, man, I think it was like round 5, round 6, I ran into an undefeated hand control deck. I'm like, what is this guy still doing it? Like, how did you not see a King Vegeta deck yet? And, he got me. It was still close, though, because he won die roll, and he went into double Zamasu right away and was ripping 2 cards. And somehow I made it to, like, turn 11.
I wish I could rip double Zamasu starting on turn 3.
I saw his list after. He only played 2. So it was.
That's the webcam.
It was
right there, boys.
Yeah, it was tough, but even then, I still made it to my 10-drop Fu, but I had no aggression. He had ripped all the aggression from my hand, so I played the 10-drop Fu, and I almost killed him, but just couldn't quite get there. And then he ripped the 8-drop Android off the top that swings, look at your hand, put 2 into your energy, and dual attack. And if you didn't rip that,
what deck is this?
it was a Android 16 kind of hand controlling variant.
Oh,
Android is just some wild stuff, bro. Yeah, it has aggression and hand control. It's insane. That guy's the dual attack is broken, dude.
I do like Zamasu in 16, but yeah.
Yeah, wow. So outside of that, though, Blue Vegeta was really well poised for that meta. So I felt like it was the best counter for King Vegeta. I played 2 King Vegetas in the tournament, and they weren't hard for me, even pre-nerf. Because you awaken on turn 1, I mainboarded Protector of the People, and then if you bean or Protector and you already awaken it, immediately just shut off their turn. And then once you get to like turn 3, turn 4, against that deck, then the game changes. Yeah. It's the early turns that matter. I still like the deck. It's not as poised to counter the meta. The biggest problem is decking out. Like I was telling you in the chat, I tested against like Soul Striker and other blue decks, and my biggest problem is I never die, but I get to the point where I have to stop drawing. Like I tested against a Soul Striker at Locals last week, and I had to stop drawing off Boo's Unison, and a couple turns I didn't swing with lead. because I had just such a huge book in hand. I'm like, if I keep drawing, I'm gonna deck out.
Yeah.
But it is nice because I could keep triple striking his unison.
Mm.
So if he didn't have a negate, I just keep going triple strike at his unison. So I win the unison battle.
Mm.
And then so my god ceilings lie for his 10 drop foo. But eventually I got him to a point where my 10 drop foo was safe, played it, and then ended up getting the kill. But that's my biggest thing is the deck just, unless you're extremely aggro or hand control, the deck just doesn't die. The biggest thing is being smart about winning, to just stop drawing so that you don't deck out. That's honestly my biggest weakness with the deck is decking myself out.
So I guess
but it's surprisingly good against Cooler Mill. Mm-hmm. So I played in the store championship, and I don't know why, but there were 3 Cooler Mills, and I literally just never played a battle card. Mm-hmm. I just played Unison lead and just kept.
Yeah, that's the main issue I had when I played against that deck a long time ago. Yeah. I played against it, and whenever I think it was set 10 it first came out, and that deck was a little more popular. I still won by killing Vegito, but like I couldn't handle.
I literally played 0 battle cards the whole game. Never hit board.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's how you beat Cooler in general.
That's going to lead off into my next question for everyone. So I want you guys to think, because I'm going to start off with Dillon again. But I was going to say, I want you guys to pick 2 leaders for each color. In your opinion, what do you see moving forward, I guess, in the meta? So Dillon, the reason I'm going to start with you is because we all seen Sublett dominate this past weekend with SS4. And I know it was your deck that cock-blocked SS4 when it first came on release, because that deck was super hyped. But the thing about it, Vegito was everywhere. So SS4 would never hit anything. It was like, all right, swing, block, swing, block, swing, block. But the biggest thing too is now that you have more prevalent unisons, more heavily named Majin Buu for blue, that's the most common one. The thing about Vegeta I like the most, I guess it goes for any color, but realistically it's just for blue, the mirror match Majin Buu, because it's really hard to get off, is the triple strike. You being able to just clear and control any blue matchup is just insane, because once again, I feel like the card coming back into this format is 10 drop food, because the only color that has an answer to it is blue. Now, if you're able to control blue's unison, they have no control over 10 drop food. So with that being said, Dillon, I want you to start us off. Start with blue. Let's all start with blue. Dillon, I want to hear your top 2 blue decks moving forward.
Okay. Well, so I think the front runner is obviously Soul Striker. Do you want me to give what I just think the clear-cut top 2 are, or do you want me to try to give you like a sleeper pick?
You can do. All right, let's do this. So is Soul Strikers everyone number 1 pick, right?
So I think that's the favorite.
Okay.
Soul Striker's not in my top 2 at all.
So I guess, do you guys want to do your top 2, or you guys want to do a top clear cut and then an under?
Just pick 2 blue leaders. You just pick leaders you think are good. Who cares?
Right,
it doesn't.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
All right. So for 2 blue, I'll stick with Blue Vegito because I think it's still good. Mm-hmm. I think it's very solid. I guess one that I could see is like for a sleeper pick. Mm-hmm. If the format slows down, is maybe like mid-range of the old Hirudegarn. Because that backside is still one of the best in the game. So once you get to because once you get on the backside and you hit 4 energy with like Zeno Unison, you can Zeno Unison turn 3, you win the die roll. Every turn he's going +1 -1.
Yeah.
I'm playing Hirudegarn in the next regional confirmed. Oh my god!
I love Hirudegarn.
That'd be my sleeper pick for blue.
I love Hirudegarn so much.
All right, I guess
love Hirudegarn.
We'll do Trey next, and then Sublett, Giancarlo, and myself. We'll just work backwards. So Trey, let's hear your 2 blue.
I do want to say that I feel like everybody was targeting Soul Striker this past weekend, and also it's not best of 3. Mm-hmm. So they have to side in like Dabura for hand destruction. You have to side in specific cards to kill off Borgos Cologne, like the Borgos cards that say that you can't untap. And I feel like people were really main decking some out to Soul Striker because of how common they expected it to be because of the discussion in the group. So I feel like Soul Striker will be really good. Yes, exactly. Will be really good in best of 3. But I do feel like if they run into something that they cannot respond to in a best of 3, like the Borgos and Zamasu kind of played back up. That's what I did to one of my opponents this past weekend, by the way. I had Borgos clone, the Whis, the yellow one, and then I had Zamasu counterplay. So he could not play Unison, and if he did play Unison, I counterplayed it, and then he couldn't swing with his leader and untap an energy. So he was pretty screwed. So I think Soul Striker is still best blue deck, and then a sleeper. I will say Future Trunks is really good against other blue stuff, but no one's really going to play it, so it's really not going to be common to see. The Vegito 8-drop is really good. Deflect, triple strike, barrier, and he just takes 4 cards out of your opponent's hand, puts them on the bottom deck, and every turn after he lives, he's going to have 2 more cards out of your opponent's hand. So against those other blue decks, if you can stick him, it's pretty much over.
Makes sense. All right, Mr. Sublett.
Yeah, SS4 Vegeta is probably the best positioned blue deck that currently exists in our format. Your bad matchups exist, and they are bad. Let me tell you, if you sit down against a hand destruction or Vegito, it's probably not going to go very well for you. And in a best of 3, its other bad matchup, which is red-green Vegeta, red Vegeta leader, red-green, it's a lot better. But outside of that, your deck generally beats any other blue deck, hands down, except Vegito. You beat any kind of mid-range or control strategy because you play more bombs than they do. And most of the time, people will just waste cards not to let you ramp, which is a strong factor in helping you win, because then they lose resources in what will ultimately be a grindy control matchup. I think it's definitely the best control blue deck that we have available to us. Soul Striker's main weakness, like Trey said, is Zamasu. If you run into any deck that is blue-yellow, you will lose the game, because they will leave you on 5. They will Zamasu your 3-drop Unison, and then they will kill you from 5 to 0. So Soul Striker is not the correct choice ever. Secondary blue deck to pick. I mean, 6 in one, half a dozen in the other. Every single blue deck does the same thing, honestly. I pick SS4 because it's the best in the blue matchup. But they're all basically Galactic Buster deck. So as long as you have Galactic Buster in your deck, you got a good blue deck.
You stole my answer, B. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I love SS4. I would pick SS4 as the best positioned blue deck. And then what someone said about Galactic Buster, I'll add Majin Buu Unison. If your deck plays Galactic Buster and Majin Buu Unison, you're probably straight. I would deadass, no troll. Looking at what happened this weekend, I would 100% play Kefla Surge at a regional if I could. I don't want to waste $30 to go X3, but I would love to play Kefla Surge at a regional. That deck is so fun.
Okay.
That's it. I mean, whatever. I know it's not good. I'm just saying.
I thought
you said Kefla Surge for Galactic Buster?
No, just because.
Okay,
I just want to play Kefla Surge.
Because it's a mono blue leader.
I know that. You play all the stupid U2, U6 stuff that used to work in set 6 or 7, whatever it came out of.
Ugh.
Yeah. So obviously my number one choice. It's not really a leader. It's what Sublett said. It's anything with Galactic Buster, right? But if we were to move past that, a deck that does not run Galactic Buster, that I believe it's still really, really good, and people would think it's not deck, is Blue Baby. Blue Baby is still a deck, guys. If you think it's gone, I guess you'll find out the hard way. So if I were to pick, that would be my number one, would be Blue Baby, after the Galactic Buster stuff, obviously. And if I were to pick a second deck, even though I want to say Blue Vegito, I heavily believe Zamasu, the one at the same, I think it's set 10. They all came out at the same time. Blue Vegito and yeah,
give him double strike and dual attack.
Yeah, that guy. I think that's a sleeper card because it's also a Unison killer. We're in a format right now. If Blue becomes really prevalent, you have to be able to control a Unison. And that's why I really like Blue Vegito. But I think Zamasu is also, I guess, in a way, kind of prone to hand destruction because you can get to a point where you just draw cards instead of trying to do what you want to do. So that would be my sleeper pick. But obviously, it's like everyone said here. If you have Galactic Buster in your deck, you're good to go. That's probably going to be the next card on the chopping block. It's not going to be Soul Striker because guess what, guys? We have Soul Striker coming out. We have Soul Striker come out in April.
Oh,
What's up?
Galactic Buster will not get hit. Galactic Buster is an extremely balanced card. You have to run a 1-mana 5k in your deck, for God's sake.
I don't
Yeah, I
think
There's
think
so,
nothing
bro.
I think
broken about
Buster's
Galactic. Galactic Buster is completely fine. I don't think it's
Yeah.
broken at all. I don't think it needs an errata or a ban. It's okay for blue to have good cards.
Mm.
Eddie, you
Yeah.
had a 0-mana
It's 1 mana
30k
now.
warp
It's
a
1 mana.
card
It's 1
from your
mana.
before
Yeah.
warp a card from your opponent's drop and hand, or their board, or block something if you're feeling bored. Galactic Buster.
But that was all during
fine.
my turn, though.
It
I
really
can't do that
is.
during your turn.
There's
That was
actually
all during my
no
turn.
card.
The end
There's
of
no
battle
current
too.
card on the
It's at
chopping
the end of
block
battle,
except
so like it doesn't
maybe
stop you during
17.
battle.
Yeah,
Oh.
17.
Yeah, I think
I still don't know how to dodge the ban. That was wild to me, bro. Like, that's
yeah,
super wild
17
to
is the
me.
only card I think that needs addressing in blue. But I don't know. I think we
it's
don't.
just because you can play Jiren and everything.
Yeah, but so
Like,
bring
you
back
can
OG
go
to
blind
7.
Yeah.
Jiren.
So bring back OG to 7.
Yeah,
if
but
that's your
still.
theory, you know what I'm saying?
Hold on. I've got some explanations for Jiren because you're right. You can just play Jiren and then you beat every single opponent who just blindly
Who's bad,
slams
yeah.
17 on turn 7. I played around Jiren all day yesterday because you have to. It's best of one, and so when I played against Dahan, he comboed off a Daburo, the one against hand destruction in his launch deck. There was no way I wasn't playing around Jiren in that, right?
Yeah.
You just build your deck so that 17 isn't like it's not a linear game to 7 energy and you play
Yeah,
17.
you have options.
You play 17 when the situation is right.
Yeah.
If you just slam 17, you're not going to win. You have to clear their board. You have to set it up. 17 by itself is not as powerful as it seems.
Yeah. No, I
More
agree.
important things happen. Like if we consider what Baby would do with 17. I was 17 so strong and so broken in Baby. 2 reasons. First off, all their negates are on their board, which means they can attack you and push damage. And second, they had access to the Parasite Unison to make the counter live, so
Yeah.
that there was nothing in the entire game that could stop it.
Yeah.
And if you did try to stop it, you just gave them another card in their hand and a 30k triple strike.
Yeah.
17 by itself actually isn't that powerful. And spending all day yesterday playing it, yes, it's true. A lot of my games were won the turn 17 came down. But all 17 did at that point was end what was about to be 3 or 4 more turns of me winning the game. 17 is the period at the end of the sentence. He's not the sentence itself. You know,
Unless your opponent draws Pinnacle of the Clan off the top.
unless your opponent is like,
I'm done.
Yeah,
All
I mean,
right,
I
Dylan.
agree. 17, just to interject real quick, when I played Baby, like before the nerfs and set, whatever, like I hardly ever won with 17 just because people just, as soon as you go to game, like people would main deck Jiren in best of 1. As soon as you go to game 2, people put Jiren in. Some people main Jiren and even mained it in best of 3 sometimes. So like, when SS3 started winning again, it like the guy who taught some guy won an IRL regional with SS3 back in set 13,
out west,
and he beat like he said he beat like 2 babies, and I can almost guarantee it's because they were bad and they just 17'd into Jiren. When in reality, like you just don't, you can win. Like I won most games with Majin Buu Unison. Like I almost never played 17 unless it was 100% guaranteed that he came down and he like was safe to come down. You almost never 17 into, you know, like an open field basically, you know, or open energy. You never 17. It's silly.
yeah, you never 17 into 2 energy open. You know what a
Yeah.
better card to play is? It's Energy Annihilator. Then you
Card's
lock
not-
them up 3, and if they're going to play around 17 from that point forward, they're not playing the game. You win anyway.
Yeah.
Big facts. All right, Dylan, start us off with red.
With red,
Yes,
so I guess for red, I think the comeback leader is probably, I like red Broly going forward.
Mhm.
Obviously, there's some stuff that can still hit it, especially if there's more yellow, but I think it's definitely poised for a comeback depending on how the meta swings. And for the second one, I like the red starter deck Vegeta leader. I think how he just protects the Unison. So the reason why like green Demigra Unison, the 1-drop is so good, like the effects aren't great. We know that. It just becomes a 15k and can blow stuff up. But the thing is the protection. You can't knock markers off it, and that's why it's so good. And the Vegeta starter deck really protects the Unison, so it makes it hard to knock markers off. It's going to stay on board. It's just going to keep swinging every turn, give you value, and leave your counters live. So I'd say Red Broly. Think it's poised for a comeback, and Red starter deck Vegeta.
Okay. Go ahead, Trey.
Mine should be very obvious. But,
Mr. Cooler.
Cool.
Cooler
Sure.
is very poised for formats that want to go to later game. If you cannot kill me by turn 5, you might as well wrap it up and go ahead and go to the next game, especially after a side. Especially for like a format where I know where everything's being played. I will start splashing yellow on my side. I'll go ahead and give it away. You will not Fu Shrouded me. I will Frost Deadly Poison it. There's no way on earth I'll let that end the game. So, and that's like one of the only way people do kill me sometimes, that they allow them to play something broken like that. So, and I will sit at a high life total in some matchups because you won't swing at me, and that's fine. But yeah, especially when that new cooler comes out, I won't have to charge the Frieza I would have another charge target other than Majin Buu, because I get tired of having to charge the good cards I want to arrival. So that new cooler arrival will be nice for the deck. I'll play at least 2 to 3 copies, and then I'll be good to go. I think Launch is the other deck, which gets boosted by Champ Pack promo cooler. It will be a bigger threat than people expect it to be, especially when people understand how to play with that deck. Frisco will be spilling the beans, I assume. I'm trying not to spill the beans because I do not want to play against that deck. It will be very annoying to play against.
I think Launch only suffers to a card. It's not only to a card that's going to be probably in everyone's at least sideboard, which is Fushotted. You have 0 answers to that card. I think if you don't win by turn 6,
yeah, Frisco has figured out several answers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You just side yellow, like I said. You just play yellow or you side yellow.
Okay.
Bro, Frisco builds too many damn decks. I don't know, bro. He's off. I really like it when I steal people. Like, I really like when Frisco posts a deck and I just get to play it. I don't like building decks, so I'm glad that Frisco builds decks, but he comes up with some wild shit. His launch deck is cool. I agree with Trey.
Makes sense.
Bardock Unison versus Launch too. So you guys sound like that.
Nobody plays Bardock Unison. Nobody plays Bardock Unison.
I definitely. Well, I don't know about best of one, but I definitely side it in King Cold, and I at least side it or main it in every green deck.
Oh, the green, yeah.
I mean,
that's all around decks. Yeah, it's all around decks.
Well, it's also good against Galactic Buster. Galactic Buster, Bojack.
Yep.
No, I agree.
Yeah, if you're green, you should have that.
I play Bardock and OG Broly. I agree. Yeah,
big facts.
It's good versus Launch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
But yeah,
until they summon Piccolo Jr. and attack it, and it immediately dies, then it's not good.
Like every blue yellow Soul Striker deck or every blue yellow deck going forward will side Frost Deadly Poison.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, Mr. Sublett.
Or Giant Ball, either way.
Hit us with the red.
You need probably both.
Yeah. So I don't think Launch is a red deck. I look at Launch as like a multicolor / arrival deck, so it's not going to be on my list of best red leaders, because when I think of a red leader, I think we're talking about a red deck. I think that the best red deck is probably Vegeta. Just because red has often filled the aggro niche, and Vegeta's got a pretty decent aggro showing, so it's okay. And red Jiren is not too terrible either. Ultimately, though, red as a color itself right now is very weak because it was very strong, and we just had a ban list, and so there tends to be a natural order of things, and it's currently Red's turn to sit in the corner and play patty cake with Dark Broly while the rest of us move forward with our lives.
Yeah.
If you can't answer Zenith of Power, you're probably just gonna die.
What is Zenith of Power?
That's the Jiren, the big one.
Yeah.
Oh no, never mind.
Double strike.
That whole deck is ass. Jiren is a bad deck. I don't know what to tell you.
All right, so
it's okay.
I'll take your 2, Giancarlo.
King Piccolo, duh. King Piccolo's still the best red deck. Let me tell you about King Piccolo, okay? I have to work so damn hard to win any game with King Piccolo. It is so frustrating.
Your top 2 then.
Because every red deck sucks, bro. Like, I don't believe in Vegeta at all. I think starter Vegeta is super mediocre. Like Sublett said, Launch, I would put Launch as the best red leader, but it's a multicolored deck, so whatever. No one's playing mono red Launch. I don't think that exists. If it does, then Robbie probably already built it if it does exist, but he hasn't told me about it, so I don't know if it exists or not. I think like
Tesco, real
Reddish.
quick on your mono red launch thing. I have heard from a reliable source that it is okay.
Okay.
Like,
All
told
right,
me
well.
it's okay.
All right, well, that's cool. So anyway, I think Launch is the best red leader, but it is a multicolored deck. I think King Piccolo is the best mono red deck. I don't believe in Vegeta. I don't believe in Jiren. I don't even know, like, this. I'm looking at this Gohan deck that topped, and it doesn't, nothing is screaming like good deck. It looks very mediocre. I'm sure the guy who played it just probably played it well and had some favorable matchups. I don't think red is in a good spot right now. If I were going to play a red deck, I would just play King Piccolo. Yeah, I have to work super hard to win, and I have to play good, like, but you still have like my leader still super combos every single turn for free. My Unison is broken, and I have Yamcha counterplay, and that's all red has going for it right now is the Unison and Yamcha, and then the cards around it don't matter. That's all that it has.
Cool. So my turn. If I were to pick a safe red leader, it would probably have to be, I want to say, Red Broly, because if a bunch of road decks start to creep back in the format, what better way to shut them out than to reintroduce them to the bully who pushed them out of the corner, to push them out to the corner in the first place. So if I were to pick a safe bet, it would probably be that. And if I were to pick my just it's a sleeper pick, Trey's gonna love me, but I would have to say Cooler. And the secret rare would have to be Black Smoke Dragon. If you have Black Smoke Dragon, as well as food, there's a bunch of stuff you can have later game that could just solidify the deal. So if I were to have to pick it, it's because I believe in mill and hand destruction right now. What's up?
Go Hanks is broken.
Go Hanks is broken, but you have to understand, you have to tap 5 for Go Hanks. But if I have to tap 5 for Go Hanks, why not just tap 5 for Black Smoke and say
Doesn't have deflect. That's like the biggest issue.
It's an activate main effect, and you can't really interact with a 5-cost Unison. So
yeah, but once again, the only person who can stop that is blue. Like, you have to have, I mean, if you're playing a Blood Lily Star, I guess you can, but it's God Sealing is the only thing you're scared of. You see what I'm saying? And that's like, if that thing hits,
you'll never play that card.
game.
The issue with Black Smoke is after playing Cooler for ages, and I used to play it in my main deck, I had never once played the card because it requires you to have sparking, like, was it
12.
10? 12.
Yeah.
That never happens in Cooler. If you've got to turn 5 and you're sparking 12, you're probably dead.
You play Overwhelms?
No,
you just don't
like,
have a drop.
Your hand is, you want to hold your hand as much as possible. Yeah. You can't really like afford to lose 12 cards to the drop area. Nothing cycles.
Makes sense. So it's 100% Go Hanks.
There's not even a chance.
It has to be 100% Go Hanks.
The only options for that secret rare are Heron's Lineage, if the format is battle card base, which is not. And then you have Kai, which is, I've tried it, and it just doesn't, it help you clear their board. Like, if you clear their board right, but you want them to have battle cards, but you don't want them to have units. Like, so it's not worth.
So what about Trey? Have you played? Nah, this probably isn't the optimal build, but we built it for my buddy Mike, and he played it in the Team Wars on Marquise's team. It actually did pretty good. It was the Gogeta chain. The like.
Yeah. But if you're Gogeta stolen by lineage, you are God.
That is true.
Yeah, you're.
That's very true.
God.
I think
if it sticks and you're playing in a good matchup,
yeah. If it sticks,
like with Cooler and minus every turn, it's wild.
Eddie, I don't think a single human being that I played against yesterday had Heroine's Lineage in their deck.
People don't play Lineage. It's not a thing.
No.
Robbie,
all right, Team Talks is over.
Generally,
come back on front. Team Talks is over.
Yeah,
it's a wrap.
I'm sorry, man. I didn't see one.
Team Talks is over, boys.
Yeah.
I played in the fight night that had one in it because it couldn't play any other secret rare.
We're gonna have to do something. We're gonna have to do some promotions. Oh snap! I forgot. That is so correct. This guy said Freezer Prison. I think Freezer Prison. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't think it's trash. I don't think it's trash. The same way I was gonna tell you too. I don't think Gogeta is trash either. That the new one coming out this Friday. I don't think that guy's trash. But for this one, Freezer Prison, I completely forgot about that. I ain't gonna lie to you. How do you guys feel about Freezer Prison?
I don't think you know how I just said I would play Kefla Surge. Yeah, I would. I don't think it's trash, but it's adjacent to trash. It's pretty close, but I would still play it. I love Freezer Prison. I tried to make that deck work. I'd play it. Whatever.
Wasn't it only missing a super combo? I never played a deck.
It's missing a shit ton, but I mean that's one of the things. Yeah.
This is not really a super combo, but to be fair, Chesco, the only time you've ever really played that deck is when I was playing U7 Frieza, and it was just never fair.
No, you played U6 aggro when I played Prison Frieza.
Did I?
Yeah, right when set 7 dropped, you played Kaba aggro, and I played Prison Frieza with Chain Attack Bib Bobbity. That's you remember? Yeah. So on turn 6, you would summon Chain Attack, which would summon Bobbity, which theoretically you could summon a second Chain Attack to get a second Bobbity, and you would sometimes end up with like 3 Kaiokins on the board. It was a cheese deck. It was cheese.
It was.
Now that Unisons exist, like you get to play better cards, but you can't play Yamcha. You can't play like this new super combo is super mediocre, so like it doesn't draw a card. Like the deck still has the exact same problems that it always had. I would love to play Freezer Prison at locals. I still have all the cards for it. I'll have to shop it up one day, but I don't think it has a chance at all.
It looks super fun. I would play it for fun too. I wouldn't take it to a tournament though. I think I agree with you on this one. It's just missing more.
Well, the big thing is charismatic and God Ceiling.
The issue with that deck, obviously, doesn't have a true win con. Like
it draws 0 cards and it has no win condition.
It has a new win condition. There's a secret rare that's only $350-ish.
Oh yeah.
Totally not win you the game, but it might. And it might.
Oh,
it's better than Army Reborn. You're gonna
we did play Army Reborn in that deck. We did do that. Yeah,
that is Nick. All right, Dillon, start us off with green.
Green. So for frontloader for meta, I'd have to stick with King Cold. I agree with Butter's call there. It just there's decks that maybe do other things better, but King Cold is just well versed across the board. There's the issue why I stopped playing it and switched to Vegeta was it was just such a horrible matchup versus the Aggro King Vegeta. It was almost unwinnable. But with that out of the meta, I think it's fine against everything that you can face. And for my sleeper one, you guys have seen what I was playing in the chat, and I actually might take that to the Gen Con online. We'll see. We'll see how much blue there is, but I like the Android 13 leader. It's tough because you have to see the 14 in the first 2 turns.
Talking about Android 13.
Yeah. To take and a 0 turn 1, baby.
if you draw Exodia, you win the game.
This is the only thing that can do that.
You win.
This deck is like one of the true decks in Dragon Ball. I can literally say, I can draw Exodia. I don't think other decks can do that.
I think it's the most powerful hand destruction deck, but it's not as consistent because if you don't see the 14, you're in real bad shape. Yeah,
you're game.
But I've been maining 4 of the Giro that on turn 2 you search for any Android.
The top 2.
Well, the 2 drop, and then 4 of the 1 drop as well.
Let's make it consistent.
And since I've been playing 4/4,
you have to see the card. If you don't see the card, this game is pointless. Yeah, he's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been playing 4 the 1 drop that searches, 4 the 2 drop that searches, and so far, in probably like 12 games of testing, I haven't whiffed on it. But that's my sleeper one. I think it'll prey on a slower mid range meta.
Makes sense.
Yeah, any hand destruction deck is going to do better in a slower format. I also played Lord Slug this weekend from set 4, and it was like surprisingly effective. Not amazing, but any hand destruction deck right now has some type of chance to steal games. regardless of how good or bad it is. As long as it functions, you know what I mean?
Yeah, even if they play the draw apes in the Deborah, they have to see them early.
Yeah,
If they don't see them early, they still die.
makes sense.
I said best of 3 is going to make that hard.
Yeah. No, I agree. Oh, yeah. In a best of one strategy, that's what I mean. But in best of 3, like, I think the only hand destruction exists. I'm just gonna skip everybody because I'm already talking. My bad. The only hand destruction, in my opinion, that can really exist if people are prepared for hand destruction is OG Broly. Self Surge is a very do nothing deck that relies too much on its unison and no other cards, which is already inherently weak to Soul Striker because Soul Striker prevents you from playing that unison until turn 5, and then Soul Striker also draws a crap ton. It's probably good against other blue decks, but whatever. In best of 3, people should be citing Deborahs just because, like, why wouldn't you? You know what I mean? That's just how I feel about it. So when you play a do-nothing deck that is only focused on hand destruction, Deborah eats your lunch. If you play, like, a mid-range green deck with hand destruction elements like Cold or Broly, then you're going to do fine against Deborah. But I think that the only hand destruction deck that can exist in best of 3 is OG Broly. That is, if people are prepared for hand destruction. If you just play against 8 whatever decks that aren't siding anything, you probably do fine. Yeah.
Makes sense. All right, Trey, hit us up with.
So I'm gonna pick something that's not been talked about yet, just because it's gonna be fun. Clash 2 Red Green Kaioken spam. Let's do it.
You bringing it back, bro?
I saw somebody discuss about it. I used to play that deck heavy at locals for fun because I love Kaioken as a card. So I was like, screw it. We got like
Look at your
12
hand, hit you an
topos
infinite,
now.
bro. Yeah.
You got 12 topos now. So
What are the 12 topos? You have regular topo, boo, and
then dormant might as well be topos. So you got topos. So you can literally just live until turn 5 and then
0 cards in hand and 12 topos.
But the Kaioken,
and then kill your opponent. Because you're just gonna ditch your hand and survive, and next thing you know, Kaioken, you're dead. But obviously,
Green Topo and Starter Frieza is really good because you pitch the Dodoria.
Yeah. That made me so jealous.
That's nice.
Because the best card I can pitch with Bupo is what I call it is Ribrianne. And you're like, okay, that's like about an even trade. Now Ribrianne's engraved. But when I saw the Doria, and you just get it back, I was like, oh my god, that's ridiculous.
So plus.
Yeah.
But if I'm being honest, King Cold is the best green deck, and I said it was going to be the best green deck. I just think it just does too much. It always does the same thing. Like, it is so consistent. There's no more consistent deck in the game currently, in my opinion. It does the same thing every time.
That's exactly. Yeah.
It is not broken, right? The deck is not insanely broken. It is just consistent. If I were to bring it, and it can side deck the good cards like everything else. So if you're prepared for your opponents and you're playing King Cold and you're playing optimally, you will most likely win most of your games. So,
I agree with you, Trey. I agree that the reason King Cold is the best green deck is because it does the same thing every time, and that is what's good. It doesn't mean it's going to win most of its games, though. It's simply that
if you win the natural and you're obviously going to be in a good position.
No, still, yes, consistency is good, but it doesn't mean you're going to win. It's not that it consistently wins. It consistently does this on turn 1, this on turn 2, this on turn 3, draws through its decks fast enough to see things, to do things the same way every time, and it doesn't actually get like blocked by other decks or the matchup or change its game plan based on those matchups. And it's that consistency that makes it the best choice. Again, it's not necessarily that it's going to win most of its games. It's by itself, King Cold is nothing. But by itself, King Cold is not broken. It's not spectacular. Fundamentally, it's not even all that incredible, right? We see a 1-drop on turn 1. Unison on turn 2, and a 5-drop on turn 3. That's generally the flow that we're seeing from King Cold. The leader is actually doing most of the weightlifting in the deck. We've seen far more spectacular things the past format that we left, right? We saw King Vegeta just let's see, I have, that's all on the board now. Attack. It's not, it's just, it's so consistent, and it's the best solitaire deck that exists, that it can do well because of its consistency. I wouldn't say it wins because of its consistency. I think it just does well because of its consistency.
Just another thing to add on to the consistency thing with King Cold. Every time I play against that deck, they see their secret rare. They draw like all 4 super combos.
Yeah.
So like they look at the top 3, grab any green card. I think that's
it's because of the field spell that they just it is consistent. That is the reason why it is the best green deck. Yeah, I agree with what both of you are saying. Yeah.
In any matchup where your opponent is guaranteed almost every time you play against them to see 3 to 4 super combos and their secret rare, it's going to be hard for you to kill them. Especially when they have free counter attacks and stuff. So the deck's just good. And I think the one thing that annoys me the most when I play that deck, when I play my decks, is the double strike for 35k on their leader for literally no drawback.
Yeah.
That's just that is so annoying. I think that Eddie might as well play that deck. He wants some 30s power, 30k power double strikes. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah. No, I agree. That shit eats unisons alive too, because when they pop this spaceship, it removes a marker. So if you play a King Piccolo unison and you swing into it, it's dead the turn you play it. It's annoying. Yeah, I agree.
So obviously, my first pick is King Cole. It is what it is, right?
Yeah.
But it's not just a clear cut, I guess, first place thing for me, because the next deck I'm gonna say is maybe not as consistent, because like I said, or like you guys said, the field spell does help you search specific cards. But another deck that is really, really consistent as well is Green Gold Tanks. I think Green Gold Tanks was a deck that just fell victim to Red Broly, and Dark Broly. Both Broly's just game banged.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm sorry, it's just it's not your turn. Like it really did. It was like you went to Red Broly, you went to Dark Broly, you went to Red Broly, and it just disappeared after that. It was like,
good thing he's made of 2 people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it just said there's no point. Like it's either Red Broly or it's Dark Broly. It's pointless. But I feel like that's another deck.
When I went to Kitchen Table Games, what is that, in Tampa? For this random PPG, it was during set 11. I played Dark Broly. I played like 2 Go Tanks in a row. I was like, oh my god, it's so free, bro. It was like it was my last 2 games before Top Cut too. So I was like X01 or some shit. And I played against Go Tanks, and I was like, okay, free. And I was like, okay, well, I just have to win. I'm in top. And then I played against Go Tanks, and I was like, oh, easy. Yeah, so that was like that matchup was impossible to win for them, in my opinion. Like, it was too bad. Go Tanks is cool, man. I don't know. The problem with Go Tanks is that it has one good card in its entire deck, and you win or lose based on how many copies of that good card you draw, and every other card in your deck is relatively bad. That's how I've always felt about Go Tanks. So if you can draw for Reaper of Justice, you're doing good, but that card ultimately sucks. That deck ultimately sucks around that card. You play a bunch of vanillas that do nothing. Your unison's relatively mediocre. Like Frieza counterplay is good, but then like what other green cards do you play? Like the whole deck sucks around one good card, and that's Reaper of Justice, and every other card sucks. So like Go Tanks has a 10-card hand, and none of them do anything. None out of every single card in your hand, there's one good card, and that's Reaper of Justice. Everything else is bad. That's how I've always looked at Go Tanks.
Hey, they always got Paraguses, man. They got the Paraguses. Come on. Those are good
cards. The leader ability is happening like a marker off of Unison. Like, Unison control is real important right now. So that tap 1, negative marker. And then you have the Goku now, which is the 1-drop, limit 1. And when that comes into play, it negs a marker. So, like, Go Tanks playing that can really, like, win that Unison battle.
I agree. Well, Go Tanks always beat blue. I mean, like Eddie said, the decks that pushed it out of the format were the Broly's. You played Go Tanks versus blue. Bro, when I played Vegito in set 11, I literally made deck like 3 max power Kamehamehas just for Go Tanks. Like, it was a very difficult matchup. So, I mean, Go Tanks always did well against blue. It's going to continue to do well against blue if you decide to play it.
I don't think anymore, though.
The problem
it's easy to get rid of. Yeah, exactly. I was about to say it's easy to get rid of the 6-drop. But my biggest thing is,
I know.
You'd have
to have those pieces
is
your deck sucks.
Because deflect,
yeah.
All right,
your deck sucks. You have 4 good cards, and depending on how many copies of that card you draw is how well your game is going to go. So you have 4 copies of Gotenks. If you have 2, you lose no matter what. You have 4, you're probably gonna have a fine game. That's it.
Makes sense.
I mean,
No,
Zamasu, Majin Buu. I
they
think
can take
Gotenks
your
is
boo though.
horrible.
That's the biggest thing because I think the secret rare is like one of the best things in that deck because you +2, you're not going to get attacked because you have blockers with revenge. So it's like okay, cool. Your units is gonna have hella markers. It's up to your god ceilings now to stop the boo secret rare. But yeah, I kind of agree with that. Gotenks is kind of fragile in a way where if you don't take their Majin Buu, the Majin Buu will bounce it. Galactic Buster into the Bojack will bounce it. It's a bunch of ways to bounce it.
Yeah.
So
I feel like the next color is going to be very easy.
Black.
Oh, unless you're doing yellow. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yellow.
yeah. Almost skip yellow. Oh snap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did the format.
So did the format. Yeah.
Yeah. Yellow. All right, go ahead.
Gohan Icarus.
Sure. Whatever.
All right, you want to start? We're doing yellow now.
Yeah.
All
All right,
right,
real talk. Oh my bad, Dylan. Is it yours Gohan Hickory's too, or is it something else?
No, it's something else.
All right, cool.
I mean,
Is it Hex?
this one should be obvious coming from me if you remember what I play. I think
Yellow Gotenks.
I like mid range Sin Shenron. Like a blend between the aggro and control variant. That's my pick for what I think could jump back into the meta. And then my sleeper pick, y'all are gonna think I'm crazy for putting 2 of these on the list, but I've been tinkering with yellow Android 13 with the new anniversary box of green yellow and the Brawlies. So you have the 6-drop Brawly that kills anything greater than their energy, and then you have the new Brawly that makes anything skillless and then rest it and KO it.
Yeah.
So you're constantly just having that arrival with all your free green yellows because there's all the Android cards that are green yellow and you don't have to pay the combo costs. So it basically you're always having something, and then Frieza's Call with Chilai. So it's weird because I did play against like Pod Frieza, the life flip one, and they never had a battle card on board. So it's kind of odd if you play a matchup where they never have a battle card.
Pod Freeze literally does not exist. This is not a deck.
Yeah, and that was the first match I played when I hopped on Untap. But I actually won a few events with that. I did the deck profile. It's like one of my first deck profiles. It's good against heavy aggro
With 13.
because you tap Pod Frieza. I won like 3 events with it. But yeah, the yellow Android 13 is something that I'm looking at because you can rest all their stuff too. So you have like Power of a Super Saiyan to switch their stuff to rest mode, and then you can KO it and then pop his effect. Because if you think about it, he has the ability to possibly be the if everything goes right, he could give you more value than probably any other leader in the game. Because he can pop on your turn, drop a card from their hand, swing draw, pop on their turn, so he can get +1/-2 off just the lead skill. Now that's if everything goes right, but that has the potential to generate the most value, and they got any leader. High ceiling, kind of middle floor. But that's my sleeper one is yellow Android 13 control.
Makes sense.
That's why we need Dillon in the chat more often because we're like meta junkies most of the time, and then we have Dillon.
Trey, you are not a meta junkie.
Trey, you are the Dillon when Dillon is not here, dude.
Say that.
You are literally the Dillon when Dillon is not
I'm
here.
usually asleep by now. I'm an old man. I'm usually passed out by now.
No, but I'm saying he plays the off things I don't ever see. I have never in my life.
Trey.
I play things that are kind of popular, not played at main big events, but I see.
Trey's not wrong. Cooler Mill is surprisingly popular in our community. There have been very few events that I've been to where there has not been a Cooler Mill somewhere in the room. There's a small but proud diehard section of Cooler Mills who like going X2, but it is what it is.
Hold on. I'm gonna give you
back
that
to colors. Back to colors, for real. Go ahead, Trey.
Someone's gonna go on a whole tangent, but
Trey,
I was saying I appreciate it.
4%.
So Gohan Acres is the obvious thing. It is just the best blue-yellow deck. There's no other blue-yellow deck that draws as many cards, does too much defensively. And if you see Bergamo, you're going to see Bergamo and Kai every game. It doesn't make any sense. I play 54 cards, and you see those cards. the one of Champa, the one of all those cards. You see them. You draw like you'll draw, and the next thing you know, if you haven't seen a card, it's probably in your life.
Yeah, it's exactly what he said, right? Because I played it at the regional. I got eighth. I had any one of in the deck. I know I should have played better. Whatever. You see Kai, you see Bergamo, you see Champa.
See
Fighting against fate, like that. There were a lot of mill decks, and I'm glad I dodged them. Honestly, I played a cooler mill, but like there were literally games where on my final turn I had like 4 cards left in deck. It was like you draw a crap ton. I think card draw right now is better than untap. So like yellow Gotenks would be an option, but that's an untap leader, whereas Gotenks is a draw leader. Gohan's a draw leader. I think it just makes it better. I think Mecha Frieza was broken, right? Like it got banned. So like this deck is literally just like one step below Mecha Frieza. It's still really good. Yeah, it's still really good.
Yeah. Gotenks is the other option due to the fact that they are very similar decks. Like you may change a few cards.
You could play. You take out the dragon, the 1-drop, and it's literally the exact same deck every single card.
You change the my God,
that's what I'm saying. Because of King Cold, you will draw more cards in the long.
Yeah.
But the combo power, like from the little dragon, is very important. I don't know why, but every time that I go 20 at my opponent's leader and they got a super combo to not take the damage, it feels real good.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're like when you play against non-bean leaders, even when you play against bean leaders, everything you attack with is 20k. Your leader is 20, your Eunice is 20, Ape is 20, Bojack is 20, Fighting Against Fate is 25. Basil is 19, so it's like right under the cusp of 20. But they will just run out of combo power, not dying when they're at 2 life or 3 life. If they have bean, it's going to be easier for them to out combo stuff. But even with the bean, they still have to lose a card every time you attack, which you attack 7 times. So
a good way I think you're going to lose with that deck is if you look at your hand on turn 4 or turn 3, and you ask your opponent how many cards they have in their hand, and they have more cards than you in their hand, you probably lost. You've probably lost.
No, I don't think that's true.
Only the reason I say is because there's no deck really that draws more cards.
I also had 5 because sometimes you have less cards than your opponent, but I'll have 5 battle cards in the board and they'll have 1.
Oh,
so
if you've already established Bojack, it's a little different. But
yeah.
You've already established Bojack, and they don't have anything on board yet.
Yeah, Bojack as a card is super weak to hand. This deck itself is not weak to hand destruction, but the Bojack strategy is weak to hand destruction because it's a -2 from hand to play Bojack. You have to combo with the blue-yellow, then you have to summon him, and that's a -2. Aegis is a cycle; it's not a draw. But luckily, every card in this deck draws, so you're not really struggling against hand destruction.
All right, Sublett, yellow.
Oh, I think it's Gohan Icarus. Playing against Chesco and testing games and stuff, I gotta say that deck impressed me way more than I thought it would. I thought it was just a troll deck that you were gonna play at Fight Night.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah,
turned out to be really good.
Yeah, I know that deck is absolutely impressive when it is piloted correctly. It feels like Mecha Frieza is back, just without being absurdly broken, and somehow better in some ways. It really feels like because you don't have so many extra cards that are bad.
I said I regret talking so much shit to Trey. That's how much I like the deck. I was I talked too much shit about it.
Yeah, but it's definitely the best one. I mean, and when you look at our meta right now, our meta is not prepared to handle yellow because everybody just assumes that it's gone. In the top cut, we had the one Gohan Icarus player who I'm sure played well. Probably could have done better in the tournament, but sometimes Celzino discards their final flash.
I didn't even know that Rapid Movement Hit had a second effect. Sublett had to tell me that Rapid Movement Hit had 2 effects.
In the deck profile. And then we had the aggro, the Sin, I don't know what kind.
It was mid-range, like Dillon said. I think that deck's pretty cool, actually.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, though. Yeah. But, so, this deck is very good. It fills a good mid-range / aggro niche, and it has some of the best options available for survivability. Honestly, if it had Bojack as well as everything else that it had, I'd be terrified of the deck in every sense. But I think that anybody out there, you should try the Gohan Icarus build. When Chesko's list goes up on the YouTube sometime before the heat death of the universe, we will, you can see it, and you should try that list out. I understand it's Trey's list. I'm just saying Chesko popped with it. But yeah, that deck is definitely very good in our current meta anyway. If the meta becomes a little faster, or if the meta gains some nifty tricks with barrier removal, that deck might actually find itself in a hard position. But in the current meta, Bojack sticks, deck's pretty strong.
Yeah.
As far as any other yellow deck that you can play right now, I think that you just play a blue leader with yellow cards in it. I don't think that there's a reason to play yellow in and of itself at the moment, because a lot of the cards that yellow uses just kind of, I mean, you have Raider's Warcry, but instead you could have an 8-drop Bojack. You have Final Flash, but instead you could just Dimension Magic. Yellow is notorious for not playing negates like Sparking Negates, right? So that's why I say Dimension Magic in place of that.
Yeah.
Ultimately, you get kind of the same thing out of blue that you get out of yellow, or you get adjacent effects. But this deck really impressed me, and it makes me like yellow again as a color and as a deck. So yeah, Gohan Icarus, there is no second.
Yeah, okay.
Say the same. Giancarlo?
Yeah, Gohan Icarus. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, one thing I always I was timid when I was playing Bojack, Bojack Aegis. I never put myself in a spot to lose to barrier removal, but there was literally, out of all 8 games, he did not get removed a single time. He was live 100% of the time. That is just a product of best of 1, you know what I'm saying? And in best of 3, that is likely to change. No one played that card against me, you know what I mean?
I know. I was just talking in testing. That was the card.
It exists, yeah. Yeah. No, because you can Final Flash it. Black doesn't have a great option for barrier removal. It's like a really crappy overwhelm that costs 2. Red is generally the best at removing barrier because it has Kaioken and Vegeta TP. Green has maybe 2 cards that could kill it. Whatever the case,
Frieza, you mean?
Yeah. Whatever the case, my Bojack literally never died. It was so nice to just have, it felt like infinite energy. You know, Bojack and Bean is 3 energy, so it just feels like you have infinite energy in that deck sometimes.
Makes sense. All right, so obviously, I guess the obvious pick is Gohan, but a pick that I don't think is so obvious because of a deck that's technically legal today. Today's Monday, right? No, I should be on Friday. Whenever the anniversary box is officially released, is going to be Set 1 Golden Frieza. A lot of people laugh at that support because you guys are laughing and then looking at the Chi leader. But if you're if you actually understand the entire card pool of Dragon Ball, you weren't looking at Chi leader. Yes, I mean, sure, people. It's Chi it's this, it's that. Yeah. But honestly speaking, the true OGs of this game instantly saw Golden Frieza is back. Now, will it have more cards in hand than something like a Gohan Icarus? Let's soon be finding out. Because I tell you what, before that even came out, that hand was already fat. Because manipulating energy, drawing cards, going through your stuff was just like that. It just fell off because it just fell off. I don't know. Honestly, don't know why. It just fell off. But
his mecha just
his mecha, mecha. But
I mean, that leader hasn't been relevant since.
It's like
right before Mecha.
It was right before Mecha.
It was not playable. That leader was not playable.
Yeah, it was.
Well, my buddy was playing it and he was doing really well, and then
Green Yellow was Green Yellow was wild. It was
that French dude who won the PPG. That was a fluke. I get that the deck won, but it was literally
that guy was going to get.
Didn't he win more than 1?
Negates,
no, he didn't win more than 1. Nah, it was just a fluke. You literally have to 100% dodge Red Broly.
Dark
the
Broly,
deck and Dark Broly, you could barely compete against Gotenks. If you play against Vegex just attacked you. When he played Jimmy in third, right? Jimmy attacked him 7 times. He went down to 1 life on turn 2. He has a million cards in hand. Of course, you're going to do well in that scenario. But in the reality is like he whatever, man. Like I just don't like the EU or the EU players, so obviously I'm biased. But it's like it's like look, it was just a fluke that he won. It's cool that he won, but that deck was not playable in the format. It was literally a fluke.
I'm not gonna say it was a fluke. I think his build was only missing negates because, like I said, when I was looking at it, I'm like, okay,
that's the guy who didn't play negates in Dark Broly.
Yeah, that's all. I'm like, hold on, what in the world? Because like, that's when the Hall of Fredo thing got caught. I'm like,
No,
I'm just playing in the finals.
I'm just trolling you, bro. I'm trolling you.
That was it. I'm like, can I just play him in the finals? I looked at his deck list. He had no negates. I'm like, there's no way. But a lot of people, when I look at his deck list, a lot of people just fell victim to, okay, he's saying no negates. But the reason why he was saying no negates was to bait people, I'm guessing. And that's how he probably won most of his games because their guys just got popped by the Broly. It's like, I forgot what it's from. It's an expansion pack. It's a Broly 6-drop. It's the only
It's from the Magnificent.
That guy just came down and just.
Card's amazing.
Yeah, you saw him in a battle card. You try to go for a game, he just came down and crushed you. I'm guessing that's why he won his games. But
and he was playing Pan that got banned recently. The Grade 8
to restand
it. And he was like main decking that, and it was like so you're like purposely not awakening until turn until you're at 2 life with the leader that draws 0 cards a turn. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, that was kind of wild. But besides that, I mean, like I said, I'm not looking at his specific deck. I still think that deck, the leader itself, it's just a powerful leader. For what it does and what it provides and how early it came out, that leader is just good. And I do believe it's.
I love Lemon Lime Frieza. I've played Lemon Lime Frieza in set 4 and set 5 and set 7. I've revisited Lemon Lime Frieza a lot. I love that deck. I think the Chi super combo is amazing, and I think like new arrivals in a deck that can play with free energy is going to be good. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, because this guy is Frieza's army too. I do believe this right here, support, may have the possibility to give Golden Frieza the edge it needed. Because whereas you're looking at the energy calls and stuff like that, Golden Frieza is like, thank you, God. This means nothing to me. I just have the Broly that I needed to go off. So, like, I don't know. It's hard to say if Gohan Acres will be better than this deck. But for right now, we can just say as a safe bet.
I'll tell you, it's not hard to say.
You're snapping, my guy.
The issue with Golden Frieza is right. You know how like that little cycling you do just to awaken. You know, that little bit of cycling you do with Golden Frieza just to awaken. You don't do that with Gohan. You just attack. Like you charge in blue yellow is a lot better than green yellow. Like. You don't have Zamasu. Why would you play a yellow deck without playing Zamasu?
Well, you have Chilai is almost Zamasu. It's like Zamasu can't hit unisons, Chilai can't hit battle cards. So it's like
I'm
right there.
To the Zamasu counterplay, not the Zamasu.
Oh yeah, Zamasu counterplay is amazing right now. That card will absolutely win you however many games you get to play it. That card is amazing.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess we'll see what happens at Gen Con because Gen Con will probably be the first event where people.
Ooh, I could play Lemon Lime Frieza at Gen Con. All right, I'll look into it. I could play that deck.
All right,
you could play the Broly leader, the yellow.
No, that's much worse.
All right, let's speak to this last one. The last one is black because multicolors. I'm pretty sure it's honestly speaking for multicolors. What is it? Invoker, Cell Surge,
Launch, Invoker, Cell Surge.
No, like actual multicolor leaders.
Oh, just the 2 Surge leaders. The other 3 Surge leaders aren't playable anymore. It's just the 2 that have always been.
There are 4 other Surge.
You were just talking about Kefla
Surge. They're
Surge.
all gone.
I literally said Kefla Surge is not playable. I would just play it at locals.
You guys think this guy's gone?
Who?
This guy's
cool.
Are you talking about the red green Broly?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking about green Broly?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, to be fair, Eddie, you can't be gone if you were never there in the first place.
Yeah.
I'm dead. All right, let's go on to Black Feeders, boys. I mean, go ahead. Start us off, my friend Dillon.
I'll do, for my front runner pick, I say Gogeta Zeno. I thought that deck was already good. I thought the only reason it wasn't super good was because King Vegeta was just a little bit faster. And with King Vegeta getting hit, I think it's got the tools to kind of compete for that number 1 aggro spot. It just has all the utility you need. It's got the stuff that they got to warp a card with the counter with the Goku. You have spot removal with thwarting, which is just amazing. So it literally just has the tools to do everything it needs to do in the meta. For my sleeper pick, I have to throw this one in there because I'm a huge Majin Buu fan, but I like the black Majin Buu leader to come out as a
I
sleeper
tried that
aggro
so
deck.
hard, bro. I try that thing every format secretly in my
So
lab. I literally test Majin Buu. I can't, bro.
my reasoning for it is because the way a lot of the decks are being kind of mid-rangey right now. That black 6-drop Boo where it can't be removed by skills and they can't draw from non-leader effects, that has the potential to be a real problem right now for decks. Especially like you win die roll and you have it on turn 2. Some decks just are not going to be able to deal with that card.
Don't forget about that triple strike, Dillon. Clear that unison, B.
Exactly. Well, I mean, think about think like blue yellow soul striker, right?
Yeah.
You win die roll, you establish a 6-drop where they can't draw from non-leader skills. It's gonna be hard. They can't Bojack it off board. They can't get rid of it by skills. They gotta attack over. So I think it just has the potential to be.
Dylan, say that again.
Wait, I already forgot what I said.
They can't Bojack what?
Oh, the 6-drop Boo.
No. Say it how you said it.
I don't remember.
You said they can't Bojack it off. That's what you said.
Oh, yeah. Of course, I meant that pun. That's gonna. I hope people don't start using that.
Yeah.
Forget it
every
came from
time
me.
now.
Yeah.
But I think that
Galactic Nutbuster and Bojack it off.
Galactic Nutbuster.
Here we go. That's it. Coin that catchphrase.
I'm dead.
Yeah.
I'm
definitely using that from now on.
100%.
There's here, Trey.
Trey gone?
So I think that the obvious choices are Gogeta Zeno, and then you have Vegex as a anti-mill strat, and that's really about it for me when it comes to black.
Yeah, mill's not
In best of one specifically.
Sure. All right, whatever.
I think mill could honestly be a thing for best of 3 because
Mm.
it's harder to answer.
Y'all forgetting Black Shenron, Mill.
I'm telling you, hand destruction. Yes, you have answers. You have the board. You can put apes. You can put the Majin Buu that draws a like. There's things you can do for hand destruction. Specifically for mill, what card says, hey, if you mill,
you just play a good deck and you don't lose. You just play a good deck and you don't lose the mill. That's
rough,
how it
man.
usually goes.
It's not as simple as banning hand destruction.
I played against Android 18 mill yesterday, and I just didn't lose.
Yeah, you just don't.
You're probably a better player, but if Sublett were to play Sublett, it probably would have been a closer match. You see what I'm saying?
I don't think so.
Sublett plays Sublett.
Yeah, Sublett A were to play Sublett B, it'd be a lot closer than your match was this past weekend, bro.
Yeah. Anyway, I think 18
mil literally would have given up and gone away.
18 mil literally auto loses to so many matchups. Like it literally auto loses, cannot win, period. It can only do well if it cheeses best of 1. The Janemba mill was a fluke. The cooler mill, like whatever, I don't think that's a good deck. I know Trey disagrees, but it's fine. I just don't think that's a good deck. So like I don't think I think you can play Vegex, but not as an anti-mill strategy. That's it. You know what I mean?
All right, but back to Sublett. 2 black decks.
Oh, the best black deck in the format, hands down, is SS3 Gogeta Thwarting the Dark Empire deck.
Yep.
Whatever shell you want to put around that card, you go right on ahead. So the one that does it best is the Gogeta Xeno deck. It's a really strong deck. We saw that from this weekend. That was the most topping deck that was present, and even though they didn't eke into, I don't think any of them eked into top 8, did they?
No, one did.
I have that list right here.
Carlos got 6.
Yeah.
Goku and Vegeta Xeno, yes. Okay, so one made it into top 8, and the other 2 were in top 16. It's clearly a very powerful deck. It does what it wants to do most of the time. And a lot of players still aren't really well versed in that matchup. You know, you'll see them sit down and the unison will be at like 2 or 3 markers and they'll kill it. And their opponent has a Kai in their warp. And
I've seen that happen plenty of times.
So there is a bit of an experience that does play into it as well. But in general, it's the best black deck that we have available. And then another decent black deck would be something like Hatch. just because of the very interesting new tools that it got, right? Like the SS4 Gogeta, thwarting the Dark Empire. I hate I hate that every single card is called thwarting the Dark Empire at this point. But
That Dark Empire necessarily can't be.
So when are we gonna get? When are we gonna get a Dark Empire deck?
Bro,
Dark Empire didn't stand a chance, bro.
It's getting thwarted, man. Whatever's going on, it's
Bro, the
getting
next set
thwarted,
should just
all
be
right?
thwarting set 15. Be that's it. Like
we need a tier
This is
1
why.
Dark
So
Empire
for
deck.
real.
Dark
Like
Broly.
the deck is the Dark Empire.
Dark Broly was the.
This is why Meki Kabur is a bad deck, because everything is thwarting the Dark Empire.
Yeah,
That
it's
is-
Anyway,
thwarted too heavily.
That's what I was saying.
That
The
guy never
SS4
stood a chance,
Gogeta
bro.
never stood a chance. Yes, SS4 Gogeta is a very powerful deck. SS4 Gogeta is a very powerful card, and if your deck can facilitate it, which would be things like Hatch and things like Launch, Red-Black Launch or Red-Blue-Black Launch, then you're in a very good position against anything that's not blue, especially in a deck like Hatch, for example, that allows you to get to that turn fairly safe in most cases, sometimes not. But so ultimately, like, I think that Hatch is an okay choice. I don't know if I think it's the best second place. I think the Gogeta Xeno is so far ahead in first compared to the other black decks that we have as options at the moment that it's hard to really see second place as legitimate. I'm hoping that some people at Gen Con will make it legitimate, but who knows? Maybe it won't be. We haven't had a really good black control deck in a long time, and it would be nice to actually see one. I think that, your go-to black leader like Dark Broly and Vegex, I think that they are significantly worse than Gogeta Xeno, because why would you mill 3 and then have to overwhelm to play thwarting when you could just warp 3 off the top and, oh look, I didn't get it, but I can go 2 more. There he is, and then thwarting. And then the same problem comes with Dark Broly. Why am I going to pay one energy for a 30k vanilla in a lot of senses when I could pay 1 energy for 25k? Freaking, this card's so broken. A 25k double strike that warps the card. Like 5k less, I've got this double striker now that can actually be comboed with. I don't need to use my leaders once per turn effect.
Yeah. The other two are also very good. The other two are still
Yeah.
the other two are
Yeah.
good.
I don't have to set anything up. I don't have to use mana like that. It's just, I don't see a world where any other black deck really competes with Gogeta Xeno as far as the best black deck, at least at this current moment. There may be some underdogs. There may be some cute things that other decks can do. And, you can certainly look to things like, I don't know about Vegex, man. I don't think Vegex is all that special anymore. But a deck like Vegex that mills 3 is very cool. And you can look to things like Hatch if you want a control option. And you can look to things like Majin Buu if you want to discard your hand for your hand destruction opponent. But as far as like the meta pick for anybody watching, if you really want to know the best meta black deck, it's Gogeta Xeno. There's no comparison. There's no second place. That's the one to go with if you are a black player.
There's a second place. It's not as good.
What is the second place?
SS4 Xeno.
No.
No, I agree. Everything you said is right. Fucking Gogeta Xeno. No, I'm telling you, that's not bad. Gogeta Xeno is a good deck. It doesn't like really. I'm just turned off of black decks. So, like, black was my favorite color for a while, and then they killed the 2 black decks I like, which is the problem that every black player has had in the past 3 months. Vegex and Dark Broly are dead. You could build the deck. You like. I know Eddie says you think it's playable. Like, that's cool. I just don't care enough to try to make it work. Somebody out there will inevitably make another black deck work. Right now, the obvious choice is Gogeta Xeno, and it's a good deck. That's all I can really say about it. The only thing that's holding it back, in my opinion, is not really having a good unison to access. You play.
Not the Mira. Mira's pretty good.
Yeah. Mira. I think Mira is the best option right now. The tape is it Tapion or Pycon? It's a Pycon. The Pycon is relatively mediocre. Mira's like just okay. and then they eroded Smoke Dragon to like a different leader. He can't use it. If Kai could grab the new SS4 Bardock Unison, I would absolutely be playing that deck because like you get a free Unison, but the Unison's kind of mediocre, so like it's not like scary. If that deck had a good Unison, it would be like much better in my opinion. I think the deck is just okay enough to be like a tier 1 deck.
So just to respond to one of the things in the comments, Becky Cabrera, the Broken Seal. Yeah, you called Gogeta Xeno 6, and that's fantastic. But are you going to win the game next turn? You better. Like it has other plays that it can do with that energy. It doesn't have to just play the Gogetas. While there are answers for it, that's fantastic. But that doesn't negate the fact that it's still the best black deck available. I'm sorry, man. I don't think that just saying a single counter option is a solid enough argument to take it out of a best of 3 viability and put Vegex above it. I definitely don't think that we put Vegex above it in best of 3 or best of 1.
Yeah, I agree.
Not just because of Meki Kabura. I don't think Meki Kabura is a strong enough response to keep deck.
So while you're on SS4, I wanted to throw in 2 things. One thing is so you can kind of make it control-y with like the looping the boo, so you can keep putting boo back from warp to drop and drawing every turn. So it gives you like double. So you're drawing off lead and you draw off the boo. So essentially you have 2 draws. And then the other thing is, have you tried? I got to remember the card, but there's that Mass Sam where you can overwhelm and get wormhole. So have you tried like using the Unison with that Mass Sam and doing like a double wormhole? I'm not saying it'll be good. I just want to see it happen.
Wormhole doesn't stack, right? Does it work like that?
No, it doesn't stack. Wormhole.
Well, I think it gives your leader wormhole, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So you have wormhole. The Unison has wormhole, right? So you have wormhole on 2 different cards.
I don't think they stack like that.
They don't stack. You're going to need overrun 1 extra time for the turn period. No matter how many times you activate worm, it's just 1 period.
Well, I was thinking if you had wormhole on 2 different cards, like if the
you can, but it doesn't stack though. It doesn't stack. It's like having double strike on double strike. It's not gonna be quad strike. It's just double strike. Even though it's like you're using a Kai and a Champa.
I get what he's saying though. He's saying 2. Anyway, I don't think it stacks. Otherwise, that would be a very interesting strategy. Yes,
it doesn't stack
because then you would summon 3 fighting. No, you still only get 2 fighting.
Okay, so here. Wormhole does not stack because the exact wording on Wormhole is you can activate Overwhelm and Dark Overwhelm up to a total of 2 times in a turn.
Okay,
that is the exact wording of
It's
Wormhole.
not 1 additional, it's 2 times.
That's correct.
And one clarification for everyone out here, because I've seen a lot of players do this. Wormhole, you have to regular overwhelm first. Overwhelm and dark overwhelm are not interchangeable words. They're not meant to be interchangeable in the rule books, all that good stuff. I'm letting you know right, because I'm judging Gen Con. Wormhole, overwhelm has to be. If you dark overwhelm, you did not activate wormhole, and you're done for the turn. You have to normal overwhelm first, which will trigger your wormhole. So now during your wormhole, you can either dark overwhelm or regular overwhelm. Just for the books, guys. Just make sure you guys know.
That's true. Which is okay though, because fighting against fate is normal wormhole, and you want to do that anyway, so it's okay.
Big facts. So going on to before I hit my things, Mecha Barrel alone won't kill the deck because it's like they have the thing about Gogeta Zeno that I really like is the 1-drop kind of. Essentially, it works for every single deck because all decks draw that are outside of their leader. It gains an extra 10k. And it goes to 15 double strike. So they have a bunch of other options outside their Gogeta 6-drop. Yes,
I go to 25.
15. It goes 15. It's a 5k base. It gains 10.
No, it's until the end of your opponent's next turn. So if they super combo on your turn, it goes to 15. If they do something on their turn, it goes to 25, or vice versa.
Yeah, but it's 10k each turn. But so
it goes to 25. That's what I'm saying.
No, yeah, you're correct. We're saying the same thing. I said each turn you gain 10k, but to the max of 25. Yeah, but so they have other things. But for right now, I do think Gogeta Zeno will be the most represented black deck. I don't think it will end up being the best black deck. One more free chicken for you guys for Gogeta Zeno. I do not think Mira is a unison for that deck. Mira is a unison that you will catch people who do not understand how to play against that deck. Like Mira, if you understand what Mira can do, you will make sure your opponent will not be in a position to use mirror on you.
Yeah,
Whereas
you just put it at one marker.
Exactly. Whereas PyCon, it's harder to deal with because PyCon is okay, cool. You want to deal with the board? Do you want to deal with PyCon? Yeah, PyCon's a 15k swing, but honestly speaking, PyCon could just sack himself off and then grab you something, which mirror cannot do. Mirror is good for one. Yes, you can say cycle,
Sure.
but honestly speaking, one extra card. Big whoop. Go ahead. You're not attacking me. That's the biggest thing with mirror. If it attacks, you say no negates, you're taking that hit. It's either gonna be one or it's gonna be you're taking the hit regardless. But PyCon, it's in my opinion, it's the best unison for that deck if you're gonna play it. Now, the decks, I was talking to Legend about this too, and I brought it to the group chat today, and I was thinking about it today. I do believe Dark Broly and Paragus will no longer be Dark Broly and Paragus. I think it will be Dark Broly and Paragus Story in the Empire, where you run 0 Dark Brolys minus Ravager. It will probably be the only one who survives. I'm gonna give you the deck list, but
And why
give me some
play
time.
it?
No. Give me some time to give y'all the deck list. But I do believe everything gets eradicated, and
So what is
Ravager
that?
is the only one
What
that
does that
survives.
leader give you specifically over the other black leaders that would make you
tell
play
you
it?
currently. But the
Wow.
next deck too that I always that I was been heavily testing, but
What did you say? I spaced.
He
for
said
Dark
that
Broly,
he cannot tell us why Dark Broly is
No,
good.
yeah, moving forward, all I would
Oh,
tell you,
I
Not
thought
even
you
Dark
said-
Broly.
no. All I would tell you for Dark Broly is currently right now, all the Dark Brolys have been cut minus Ravager. It's the only one who survived the snap. Another deck that I'm gonna work on, but I have to finish
Then
Dark Broly
why
first.
Dark Broly?
That's what I said. He said he doesn't know. That's, yeah.
It's not that I don't know. I do know, but like it offers you
Nobody
significant
knows.
advantage that if I say it, it's gonna be. You guys will see. You guys will see.
You're not even playing in
You
Gen
guys will
Con.
see after the event. But the next deck, I do believe, is going to be Vegex. Because Vegex, the only thing you're missing from that deck specifically, in my opinion, that makes it just the hands down pick, is your access to the freaking blocker. Guys, do not, if you're playing Gogeta Zeno and you have that blocker in your hand, please hold on to it and play it turn 1. You guys will understand the advantages of you playing that blocker turn 1, drawing a card turn 1, you being able to attack, to block their initial attack, and then just restand it and have it again throughout the entire game. That thing is so much value, Tom, but that's a story for another day. But I do believe right now, I agree with everyone. Gogeta Zeno will be the most represented black deck. Will it be the best black deck at the end of the day? I do not believe. I tell you right now, I don't believe so. For multiple reasons, I don't believe it's going to be there. I do believe.
You said it would be Dark Broly.
No. I didn't say it would be Dark Broly. Honestly, if I were to have all these builds together, like just finishing complete, I think Vegex would come on top. As much as I do love Dark Broly, I think Vegex would just be a step faster than Dark Broly. If I'm to be completely honest with you guys, but I do
think
believe
this new Bardock is ass.
No, you snap.
The new
You
SS4 Bardock, I think it's
snap. Stop
ass.
saying that. You super snap. You super snap.
I think it's not good.
Super snap. I don't think
I think
that leader will be in a top black leader. I don't think it's ass though. Like 100%, it's not. Because I'm not even working on it too. But just reading the cards, there's no way you can say that card is just. But because right now, currently, I don't think there's a way for you to beat hand instruction. Like you would have to. Number one, guys, don't play the Bard. Don't play that Broly unison. Play the Bardock unison. Get your draw cards. But I think you would have to make a build in a way where you just don't auto lose the hand instruction. Because right now, I'm telling you, if you see it, best of 1 or best of 3, you're just going to get smoked. The board is not going to help you out. You're going to have infinite. Hey, I cannot lose. You're going to have Majin Boos. You're going to have mass cards in order for you not to lose that matchup. That matchup is an auto loss, in my opinion. But going to the black decks, once again, Gogeta Zeno right now, you have it. But I do think at the end of the day, Vegex will end up having it for multiple reasons. They play free, guys. You have drop. It's like the next Dark Broly, right? You have drop interaction. You're very. It's hard for you to auto lose a game when you have access to infinite floodgates that affect every single deck in this game. Not only to mention that, you still have access to the best black card that's going on everywhere. You can go ahead and grab it with your SS4. There's multiple things you can do with it, but the one thing that it came down to is, well, this is not just the sole factor, but the one biggest plus that all the other black decks cannot do is Koetsukai. You naturally have Koetsukai and just send it off to space because it just flows with your deck. And with that being said, that's why I think at the end of the day, Vegex will be the top black deck again at the end of this format.
The other thing it does is draws when you go first.
Yeah, it also does that.
That's it.
What's up?
But Vegex is just a mill 3 leader.
It's
There's
a
so many
mill.
other black leaders that mill 3 as
Yes, but it's
well.
still the best mill 3 leader in the game. Not only
You
that,
don't
you
gotta
still have
swing
Yeah.
you
access.
don't
You
gotta
don't
swing
have
to
to
draw, which
swing.
is good.
You have access to
You won't
Monty.
swing.
It
You
depends.
won't.
You know what I'm saying? You
They're
have
just, but
access to
they're
Monty Blue's
saying
human extinction attack. There's a
you
lot
get
of
a
stuff you can do with
you get
Vegex.
passive advantage turn 1 by going
Yes.
I
first. You get an
understand.
additional card. Yeah.
I understand that, but the SS4 deck that you're talking about, Chesco, it's a burst 3 as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. It's a mono Saiyan leader.
It's a better
as
burst.
well.
It's a better burst leader at this point on the
Yes,
front
I
but
side.
know.
Yeah.
Like, the X is just burst. Like, on the back
your
side, it gives
leader
a
can't give
unison
your
double
unison
strike.
double
So does
strike.
Champa.
Exactly. You're
Who
using
cares?
a
You don't win.
Champa.
You're not.
You're using a Champa.
Not
for
winning
your-
with that unison. The unison is terrible. You don't
You
win
win with.
5
I'll repeat that you didn't say
You're
that.
winning with you're in Vegex. You're not. You're generally not winning with the unison. You're generally winning with any attack that you can throw Champa on. That's how you won in Vegex.
You can play mirror unison and give it double strike.
If they did not, that's cool, I guess. Is it though?
I'm not
I don't
saying
know.
it's good, but you can do it.
You certainly could. You could also just play Mirror Champa, and that's a million attack already. So I mean, it is what it is. But like
Hey, but that is mirror.
in Vegex, like if they didn't have the negate for the unison, good for you. But generally, any attack is going to be game because you have Champa in hand. Like this is how Vegex was. Fighting against Fate, Demigra, Leader, one drop Goku, one drop Vegeta, BMS. I know I barely played Vegex and I won with the Trunks blocker before because I threw a Champa on it and shotgun my hand. I'm sure you guys have done the same thing. Like any attack that just goes through, any attack that went through was just the damage. You know, that's just how Vegex was.
So look at this. You could go.
So
you could
essentially,
double
you're
strike
saying
to the
how
mirror
good Vegex
unison
is. That's what I'm trying to tell
and
you.
mirror
Like,
Champa.
Vegex has so many lines of play that it's just it's going to be rough. Like it dodges a lot of stuff and has answers to pretty much everything.
I think literally the only thing it has going for it is Quichukai. That's it.
There's no reason. There's no reason to make this argument. It's never going to go anywhere. Okay. I will concede that you are wrong and move on with life. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm
just kidding. But I think we should just move on from this point.
Yeah,
because
we're
this
gonna
argument will go on
do
for
closing
10
comments.
years.
Nah, yeah, we're gonna do
10
closing
years.
comments.
Real quick. There is one other question in the chat, which is a pretty interesting one. It's also, also, any thoughts or theories on why there were no Soul Strikers that topped in the
Yeah, we
past
talked about it in the
series?
beginning. The same thing with hand destruction. It's like that was mind baffling. It's
No. It makes a lot of sense actually. The hand destruction is just because hand destruction decks are inherently fragile, and in a best of one environment,
but to
you
the mill
have bad
decks?
RNG. But mill decks are also inherently fragile, but they got good RNG. Like it's just how it went. It's not surprising to see it there or not there. The reason we didn't see Soul Striker, at least again, this is just my thought on it, is that if you went into that room not playing Soul Striker, you went in ready to beat Soul Striker. Soul Striker in that regional was the gatekeeper. If your deck didn't beat Soul Striker and your deck wasn't Soul Striker, then you had no business playing in the event because you couldn't handle the gatekeeper. Every format has a gatekeeper. This was a brand new format. Nobody really had any like solid information on what was going to be the best or the worst or whatever, but everybody assumed the go-to Old Faithful Soul Strikers got it covered. And so again, the players who went there to win, not the players who went there to drop after 3 rounds. Not because they did. I'm just talking about the players that went there to not actually.
just to get a TPs.
But the players that went there to win, whether they did or didn't, the ones that went there to win went there to beat Soul Striker. Soul Striker was in their mind when they put their 50-plus card deck together. It was in their mind when they picked their leader. And so when they went against another Soul Striker or went against a Soul Striker in general, they sat down confident and ready to take that match down. And so it does not surprise me at all that the gatekeeper does not exist in this, because our gatekeeper was not guaranteed, it was assumed. And I believe that everybody assumed incorrectly as a result. We all thought Soul Striker would be the gatekeeper. It turns out it didn't make it, so it probably wasn't a good gatekeeper, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's just the lesson that we can learn from this is we went into an open format, we had an assumption on the gatekeeper, everybody was built to beat it. Everybody did beat it, and that's just kind of how it goes. It looks like a better gatekeeper might actually be something like Gogeta Xeno or King Cold after these results.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I hope that
It's
answers
also-
your question.
It's also week one meta. You never know what's going to happen week one. There will be decks you see week one that you'll never see again. There will be decks that have not been developed yet that you'll see nonstop for the next 2 months. Week one meta is always the most interesting and the most open. That's all it comes. That's another reason. That's my theory.
Yeah, and somebody here said I got 20th with Soul Striker going X2. Yeah, there's also tiebreakers that factor into this.
Got beat by the
And
breakers.
Crushed by
It happened.
I'm talking about top 16, but we didn't expect to see one Soul Striker in top cut. We expected 4, and we see 0. And that is a result that we cannot ignore.
As well.
Yeah.
Also, congratulations on going X2. 20th is a wonderful place. You should be very happy with that. I'm sorry your tiebreakers knocked you out, but good job. And no, also.
Wow, you're being so nice. Wow.
Oh, well, I mean, you said so many people were a fluke, man. They weren't a fluke. You don't take somebody's top away from them, Mr. Gohan Icarus.
Oh, okay. Got me there, bud. Got me there.
All right, let's start with closing comments. To start us off, Dillon, so we can get out of here. So, pass.
Closing comments. I guess, like you were saying, week one format, everything's wild. So, if I had to give everybody a closing comment that's watching, is don't read too much into what you see for the first event. Not everybody played in that event. Like, not saying I shaved it, but I wasn't in there. Robbie wasn't in there. There were a lot of people that didn't play in it. You had people trying out wild decks, like you were saying. You saw a lot of wild stuff. So I'd say expect it to change going into the next few weeks. The one deck I expected was off my red list was I expect to see some red Broly creeping in. So the week twos could potentially look very different from the week one.
This was a pretty stacked regional. That's the only thing I'll
This
disagree.
was a super stacked regional.
This was a really stacked regional, dog. Yeah, I
Well,
don't know.
not that it wasn't stacked, but just that.
First off, thanks for calling Chesco and me like nothing.
Nah.
Not saying that there were good people there. But saying that the people that play in it shift, right? So like, you guys might not play in week 2, and then like me, Robbie, whoever played week 2, and then
SS4. That's what he's trying to say. Like next
it
year, if
would
you guys
just
don't play,
shift what's in there.
All right, Trey.
So not saying that it didn't have good people in it, but saying that
the decks are gonna
And
rotate.
you and Robbie are better. That is what you're saying, though.
I'm saying the decks are gonna rotate. Let's go.
I'm the worst person on the team by far.
No. We're just trolling. Anyway, yes.
That's a given.
I understand what you're saying is.
What's a given? I didn't hear.
The given is that
it's Trey
I'm the
Faircloth's
worst
turn
on the
for
team.
closing comments. That's the given. Let's go, Trey.
I don't think there are any bad players on our team. I'll say that.
Oh my God, is Eddie trying to keep us on track? That's
Let's go, Trey.
He's got a script.
So I will say that this event was very interesting to see the top cut, but this is best of one, so keep that in mind. So when you go into best of one, prepare for best of one. If you're playing yellow, have Crusher Ball. You'll beat those Android mill decks. Just be prepared for what you can see. But these results will transition to the next event, and people will be more prepared for those decks. So if you can't beat Gogeta, Xeno, or King Cold, I wouldn't play the deck.
Very fair.
Yep, I agree. I think, like I said before, I think that it's King Cold and Gogeta Xeno that are our actual gatekeepers. I think that we learned a lot from this event. Actually, I think that we should probably stop invalidating it, which is a little.
That's the problem with every webcam.
Not even every webcam, just every event in general. It always gets invalidated in some way.
Yeah.
It was 8 rounds. It was 8 grueling rounds. There were a lot of good people there. A lot of interesting decks might have topped, but that doesn't say anything bad about them or the decks or anything. And that is an important note to take from this, is that there is no such thing as bad data when it comes to an 8-round event. Even if it's best of one, that is still good data. That is a statistically significant data set, because In-person regionals go like 5 or 6 rounds because they have 64 people, and I don't care that they're best of 3. It doesn't matter. You still just look at the data at the end of the day, and we see things that we expected. We all said King Cold was the best green deck. We see King Cold being the most represented green deck. We all said Gogeta Xeno was the best black deck. We see Gogeta Xeno there. That's data that we can say we had a hypothesis. The data backs it up. Very good. We also learned that we had some incorrect hypotheses with Soul Striker, for example. It's important, and above all of that, the most important takeaway from this regional that we had here is that the meta is healthy. You don't see anybody complaining about how it went down or saying that what got first place was broken. Nobody's saying King Cold is broken. Nobody's saying second place was broken. Third place was broken. Definitely nobody is saying fourth place Heck Coup is broken.
Yeah.
And if you can sit down and say none of the top 16 decks are broken, there's nothing fundamentally broken about them, that's a good meta. And we're going to continue to see this good meta. Yeah, we might not see Android 18 in the next one. We might see Cell Surge instead take its place because of RNG, but we're still going to see the same kinds of things. We're going to see a variety of decks with the ones you expect to be there being there. And we have the data set now to support what we expect to be there.
Okay, that was great. Yeah, I agree. I'll add on to that. I had a lot of fun. This is my first event in like 4 months. Last event I played in was in June. So this was, oh, that's not 4 months, but whatever. Anyway, yeah, I think the game is really healthy. It's a lot of fun. I played 8 different decks in 8 different rounds. That's the type of event that I want to go to. That's the type of event I have fun at personally. Some people might not like that, but I mean, that's just my opinion. And I'm like fiending for Gen Con, and I really hope Frisco builds me a deck for Gen Con because I don't like building decks, and I don't have a deck that I'm 100% settled on for Gen Con. So hopefully someone in the team comes through for me and helps me out, like Trey did this time. Otherwise, I'll be playing Gohan Icarus again. So,
I was just about to say that. You did well with
Play
that.
SS4?
You might as well go
I could
into
play
it.
either of those.
Just
Yeah,
go back. I mean, if it's not broke, don't try to fix it.
that's a good point. But yeah, we'll see. Anyway, yeah, I had a lot of fun. Dragon Law to me is fun again. I'm invigorated. I've been fiending to play like every day. So, you know, I've been like just doing random stuff in the game. So this is cool. I'm happy. This ban list fixed a lot. I'm really appreciative of Bandai for trying and doing well.
They listened to us.
They did listen to us. Yeah, that's a very important thing.
They listen to us instead of whoever they listen to for the first one.
Yeah.
That guy got fired.
That's
B.
very
That
important.
guy 100% got fired. Hands down.
Aw, Eggman's looking for a new job?
Oh,
Oh,
man.
why?
All right. We're not using names here. All right. So my closing comments, boys.
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't
Names.
use his name.
We'll call names if we want.
this-
No, don't
This
push.
is
I didn't say Hayden.
this is the time to make the decks that you guys want to make, right? It's not like, okay, cool. Yes, it's like what they said before. You have to watch out for Gogeta, Zeno, and King Ko, but you can be innovative again. It's like, don't come out with a deck that you know for a fact you're going to say, oh, let's come out with set 1 Green Goku. But like legit, if there's a deck that got pushed around back then, like how we talked about green gold tanks, like you had Red Broly and Dark Broly just push you in the corner. Those like decks that just held the meta down, it's not there anymore, man. So go ahead and play the decks that you want to play. Make sure you do your research, man, and just have fun. If you guys want to hear more advice detailed for Gen Con, because I believe we're less than 2 weeks right now, put down in the comment section of this video specific questions that you have specifically for best of 3. Like if you guys want to have, I don't know, like a Q&A on a specific deck for best of 3, like how to beat it, the basic turn 1 plays, whatever it is, just have those in the comment section below. I'll try to help you guys with those. If you guys have judge questions, put those also in the comment section below, because there's a real life best of 3 event coming up really, really soon. It's going to be lit. I don't think it'll be streamed. I'll ask to see if I can put my little phone up there to give you guys a little coverage. Hopefully they'll say yes. If they say no, I'm sorry. But yeah, other than that, I have nothing else to say. And you have last 30-second comments? Anything? All
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks for watching,
Thank you.
guys, and we'll be back
Bye.
next time.
Thanks for watching. Later, guys.
It is time to go eat a bowl of
All right.
cereal and pass it.